Grammy winner Kanye West is going to sing a special song for us. Before you tell us a little bit about the song.
Well, it's a song I wrote for my mother back in 2000. It's one of my favorite songs. And I saved it for the opportunity to be on the Opus show and perform it for us.
I wrote this song just so you know, no matter where you go, my love is true, mama.
This is a video of Kanye West performing Hey Mama for one of his first times on the Oprah show back in 2005. Kanye waited a full 5 years to perform and release this song, solely to do so on the Oprah show because he knew his mother, Donda, was a big fan of the show, and he wanted her to witness it there first. The man literally wrote and composed the song for his mom in 2000, but wanted to wait until the perfect moment to show it to her. Now, this was 2005. Kanye was 28 years old. Let's fast forward a little bit. It's 2021. Donda is dead. She passed away 14 years ago due to very suspicious circumstances. You're Kanye West. Yeah, I know that's whack, but hear me out. You're Kanye West. You've won 24 Grammys. You've sold more than 160 million records. You made My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. You're one of the most influential and celebrated entertainment artists of all time. You're also still Kanye West. You've been criticized and chastised for years. You've had private and public meltdowns for the world to see. You've been committed to a medical center due to mental health issues for the world to see. You've had beefs with your closest friends and collaborators on and off for the world to see. And to top it all off, you are currently going through a divorce with your also very famous wife, of whom you share 4 children with, all for the world to see. Your dad was never there, and now your mom isn't either. Your mother, Donda, who is your main source of support and guidance through everything, isn't there to see any of this anymore. Your kids, your success, your highs, your lows, your kids, everything. She isn't there. So, what do you do? Now, picture this. Your kid Cudi. At 11 years old, your dad suddenly passes away from cancer. You have older siblings and your mother there, but you mostly cope with it by acting out in school or staying up looking at the moon. To top it off, did I mention that you're from Ohio? Sorry. Sorry. You get expelled for threatening to punch your high school principal and eventually receive your GED, struggling to maintain happiness. At age 20, you move away to New York with absolutely no plan but to live with your older 80-year-old uncle. After years of dealing with depression, you try to start a new life for yourself in a completely new place and pursue your artistic passion, and you hit the jackpot. You meet Kanye West at your work not once, but twice. You drop a once-in-a-generation album. Your life switches gears, and at a faster pace than you could have ever imagined. You are now the face of a new generation. Everything changes and you don't know how else to handle it, but with drugs and alcohol. You literally wake up with your version of a morning trifecta. You do coke, drink a beer, then smoke weed. You get arrested, have a daughter, and are known by the world as the rapper with mental health issues. After a few years of continuous issues, you publicly submit yourself to rehab due to depression and suicidal urges. You even give yourself a stroke due to these issues. Through all the personal trauma and suffering, you decide to keep moving forward. Yes, that's a Reborn reference. And continue to make music and art that seeks retribution for yourself and for the youth. But every single day you're reminded of your dead father. Your dog who was there for a decade dies. Your public and personal humiliations follow you in every piece of media you produce. And you're constantly haunted by your substance abuse issues. What do you do? So now I ask you, the viewer, what have you lost? What changed everything for you? Maybe it was the passing of a loved one. A mom, or a dad, or a daughter, or a son. Maybe you lose your marriage, or custody of your kids. Maybe you lost somebody who you thought was everything. Maybe you get in an accident and end up paralyzed, or the sole survivor among everyone else.
How do you move forward when you know that you've lost something and you can never get those memories or those opportunities back?
How do you cope? When you've lost everything, where do you go?
Go to the moon. Don't leave so soon. Don't leave so soon. How can I keep going? I wanna go to the moon. Don't leave so soon. Don't leave so soon. How can I keep going?
Don Toliver's feature on this track is haunting. You don't really know what you're hearing at first, but you're ascending. His voice here is heavenly and pulls you right in to grab your attention instantly. Kanye West is known for taking the people who feature on his projects and utilizing them to their fullest potential, and they definitely did not disappoint with this one. Moon is the perfect title for this track. When the album Donda was coming out and I found out there was a track on it with that title, and it featured Kid Cudi,
Oh boy, yeah.
it was a match made in heaven. Now, some fans of this channel, or those who know me well, are aware that Kid Cudi is one of my personal favorite artists of all time. As I mentioned earlier, Cudi makes a lot of music that opens up about his personal struggles, but he's mostly known for his acclaimed Man on the Moon trilogy. His songs have always had an out-of-world experience to me, and I've always found solace in the moon as well. So safe to say that this was the track I was looking forward to the most. This is pretty public information, but Kanye West and Kid Cudi have almost annoyingly had beef with each other on and off, but luckily tend to come together when they need each other the most. Fans of both artists enjoy their joint album, Kids See Ghosts, especially the track Reborn, which is a therapeutic trance of a song focusing on moving past personal struggles. I don't want to discount that track or that album, but I think that Moon embodies the culmination of these two historical artists further than Reborn, right? Moon feels like a more vulnerable self-reflection to me, almost more of a cry for help, but at the same time it provides a sense of comfort I can't describe. Kid Cudi's hums have literally been studied and analyzed, and yeah, he hums on Reborn, but on this track he sings most of the song and it's just as warming. It feels like a supportive sound of freedom and celebration. It feels like a journey. Let's talk about the actual lyrics and why they resonate so well. Also, just as an FYI, I'll be getting a lot of the next information from sites like Genius and interviews the artists have had. As I mentioned earlier, Kid Cudi is the perfect feature for a song titled Moon, but beyond his albums titled Man on the Moon, why is that? In an interview by Hip Hop DX from 2009, back when the first Man on the Moon album came out, Kid Cudi was asked about the context of the moon and his music. He responded with, "The moon is pretty much my place of peace, whether it's a room or my mind. It's really your own personal space. It could be interpreted any different way. I didn't want to have it so literal. I want kids to interpret it and find their own moon in their world." So using the Kid Cudi context and the greater context of the album Donda, it's a little bit more of a spiritual space. It's almost church-like in a sense, with the reverb and the echoes of Toliver's voice. Again, it's haunting. Now, some consider the lyrics as a metaphor for suicide by leaving so soon, which honestly isn't that surprising and kind of makes sense. Kanye talked about his desire to do so after his mom passed away, and again, Cudi checked himself into rehab for those specific urges. If that's true, the line, "How could I get through?" could reference finding salvation in Jesus after committing such an act. Personally, I interpret it a lot simpler. I just see it as a question. How could I get through? Think about how many times you've heard or asked someone how they're able to get through something. I see this song as dealing with trauma and moving forward from it. Don Toliver's high-pitched voice, again, is haunting and really emphasizes the struggle and the shadow of moving forward through the darkest times in your life. I genuinely just pause, I guess, whenever I hear this. I suppose everybody has their own version of don't leave so soon that they can't get over. There are shadows in your life following you constantly, and I honestly don't know if you can ever fully get over that one big thing that changed every single thing for you. But you gotta try, right? How could I get through sums that up perfectly to me. It's scary how things from days ago, weeks ago, or even years ago can haunt you to this day and still you aren't fully recovered from it. So the next few lyrics,
Here we go, strapping we up.
refers to strapping up for safety in preparation of a journey, such as boxers strap up their gloves, or on car seats they have straps for safety purposes. There's danger and hardship ahead, but you're still preparing for it. Next,
Never forget all the memories. Sitting, I sit by my cup, thinking I should be a better me.
the lyrics are pretty simple, but that's part of Kid Cudi's charm. His lyrics, among other things, is why he's so accessible to so many people.
Truly, I'm blessed from the start. So much to say in these melodies.
Kid Cudi's debut album was awarded as an instant classic and is many fans' favorite album to this day. Like I said earlier, his life changed immediately after the release of Man on the Moon 1, and he was spearheaded as this emotional, open, and honest advocate of mental health and expressing feelings through his music. He's compelled to say everything he can through the music he puts out, and so is Kanye. Each of his albums have a distinctly unique sound and sense of honesty to it in completely different ways. Again, allowing people to relate to him in every different way.
Stare at the sky, the moon singing sweet. Oh my God, such a sweet moment. Angels, they say I'm not ever weak. Such a lonely boy.
Cudi clearly has an affinity for the moon, which we discussed, and he's taking the moment in. Angels that say I'm not ever weak, again, refers to the spirituality on the album Donda, possibly with Donda watching over Kanye through everything, or Cudi's father watching over him. This lyric slightly also reminds me of Heart of a Lion by Kid Cudi as well. Probably my favorite lyric from the song is next.
Heaven knows I might never sleep. Trouble in my soul.
I can't tell you how much this line hits home to me. I haven't slept well in years. And if I'm opening up and fully being honest, there was a period of my life where everything was absolutely miserable. I genuinely didn't know what horrors the next day would bring, and I couldn't get through what was currently changing in my life. I ended up purchasing a smartwatch to track my sleep, and I learned I was averaging about 12 to 15 hours of sleep a week in total. This persisted for a few weeks, but eventually I learned to get better. I had to, you know? If you're listening now and struggle with the same issue, just know from me to you that things do get better. It's rough, but it happens. I mean that wholeheartedly, especially to anybody who needs to hear it. You've got this, alright? Back to the song.
Hey, I've been praying, life can be draining, Hey, we relate, try and keep falling on.
Let's think about it this way. The last album Kanye West released before Donda was Jesus is King, which was mostly panned by the fans and the critics. Ever since Kanye started focusing on spirituality and Christianity, his music has had a slightly different vibe to it. He even created a Sunday service choir and would perform and release songs with them. It's safe to say that he prays, and along with Kid Cudi, they would both want to repent for the sins of the past. At the same time, humanity is known to pray for better things when life is rough or when decisions are difficult. Both artists have struggled through so much, yet endure and haul on.
I'm ashamed, hated what I would see, and nobody knows, so I go.
This line is vulnerable, admitting fault and embarrassment, which I suppose both Kanye and Cudi can own up to. Maybe if things had gone quote-unquote right, things would be better, but they aren't, and nobody knows what comes next. What comes next after you release this song? What comes next when you mess up again? When you die? Nobody knows, but you have no choice but to embrace it.
How can I get through to the moon? Early afternoon, to the moon. Take it to the moon. Don't leave so soon. Don't leave so soon. How can I get through?
Kanye finally comes in. All three of them had their own personal battles they're coming in together with at the end of the song. I love how Kanye is asking, how can I get through? And Cudi is adding, to the moon. It perfectly embodies both of their personas to a T, and the bond they share at the end of the song is unmatched. They're reborn together. They're free together. Yes, those are both references to songs they have made together. Something I haven't mentioned up until this point is that Kanye West actually found Kid Cudi and collaborated in the 808s and Heartbreak era, which just so happened to be a result of Donda's then recent death. Cudi was there then, so it's full circle that Cudi is here for Donda's album now. I also love how at the very end of the song, Cudi is doing his Honestly, it just feels like a celebration of life. It's a celebration of Donda, of himself, of overcoming pain, overcoming struggle, and so much more. It's a celebration of you, and of me, and everybody else. His voice goes up and down with beautiful inflection, and the fact that it's at the end leaves the song on a high and hopeful note. So one last thing I wanted to mention, Kanye has been noticeably absent from his song on this album, and he comes in at the finale. I see it as Kanye taking his time grieving and processing, then finally being able to muster up his words at the very end, before he might not be able to, as the song comes to a close. This entire album is dedicated to his mother who was his driving inspiration growing up, and his mother who left him too soon. His mother who never got to meet her grandchildren. His mother who wasn't there to help him through all his issues the past 15 years. Again, missing out on his children, public ridicule, political ridicule, religious ridicule, a divorce, mental health issues, and everything else in between, even the highs. How can you get through life when someone so important to you is gone? Where do you go?
How can I get through? Early afternoon, take you to the moon. Don't leave so soon. Don't leave so soon. Don't leave so soon.
Thanks Thanks so much to everybody who stuck around to the end of this video. This one in particular has been a video I've been wanting to make for a while, but I haven't really known how to express it. I hope everyone watching is able to understand at least a little bit how I feel about this song, and how important it can be to so many people. It's weird because it's technically my favorite Kanye West song, but I also don't really know if I fully consider a Kanye West song. Like, he's barely in it? Question mark, question mark? It's a collaboration of feelings from multiple people, but that's what art can be sometimes. A lot of people flock to Hurricane or Off the Grid, but Moon sticks out to me the most. I cannot tell you how many times I've listened to this and cried or reflected or embraced moving forward, and how special it is to me. To everyone who stuck around on this channel, I appreciate your patience. Thanks for clicking on this, like the video if you found it enjoyable, and comment down below how this song has helped you, or just how music was able to help you through a tough situation. Subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. I promise I'm coming at this channel hard the next couple months. Now, it's time for me to go. I'll see you on the moon.
No way.